Hi, this is Dylan. Dylan is a student in Year 11 that is physically late maturing. He has significantly declined in his academic performance and now engages in high-risk behaviors like smoking, taunting, stealing. He is no longer participating in basketball, which he enjoyed, and has withdrawn from his pro-social peers. Dylan's parents expect him to excel both academics and sports to receive a scholarship. However, his parents are concerned due to his poor performance and risk-taking behaviors. As a result, we have gathered interventions to assist Dylan both inside and outside the classroom. The dimensions we have identified are cognitive, biological, and social development. When we look at the cognitive development aspect, adolescents are more prone to risk-taking behavior because they are more impulsive, less self-control, and are greatly motivated by peer acceptance. The prefrontal cortex in the brain is crucial for self-control and decision-making. However, it is matured at a later time in adolescence, which is reflected through Dylan's behaviors. As such, in emotional context, adolescents' impulse control ability is severely taxed, which accordingly to Steinberg is adolescents' decisions error due to the emotions of the moment and the desire to be accepted by peers. This hot arousal context reflects Dylan's choices as his socio-emotional network hijacks his cognitive control system. To meet his parents' expectations and schoolwork, there is a high demand on Dylan's extraneous cognitive load, which may also be the reason for his poor performance in mathematics. Another cause may be the math equations now involve high element interactivity and a high intrinsic cognitive load. It is important to consider that learning will have a positive effect if the material being learned is in low element interactivity. According to a study, it states that if the material is high in element interactivity, then it may reduce the learning process for the student. The Health Promoting School program is an effective model to promote health in school setting and increase school connectedness. A component of the framework partakes learning styles used. Here for Dylan, a student-centered learning style activity can encourage his participation and enhance his decision-making skills in the classroom and outside. For his poor performance in maths, the implication of Vygotsky's theory of zone of proximal development is crucial in classroom practice because it fills the gap between what the student can achieve alone and what they can achieve with help. As such, the students learn more through interactions, and this will also develop the rational decision-making skills for inside and outside the classroom.
Another aspect we looked at is biological development, in specific, nature versus nurture, and late maturation. Dylan's biological makeup could be the reason for his late maturation. Late maturation in boys is found to be problematic as they are seen to have higher rates of substance abuse, lower grades in school, and deviant behavior. This is compared to his cohort around him who may be early maturing adolescents. Although it is problematic for early maturing boys, there are some added benefits that late maturing boys do not get. These include height, build, and hair growth. Dylan is no longer being selected for representative basketball teams due to late maturation, and other students who have peaked physically are being selected over him, leading him to be withdrawn and engaging in high-risk behavior. Boys that go through late maturation often have feelings of inadequacy, dependency, and low status among peers, similar to what Dylan must be feeling. An interview with the parents could help find out if late maturation is in his genes. This could be done by explaining to his parents what it is and asking if either of them have had similar maturing status or if family members have. The aunt intervention during a one-on-one interview with Dylan could be used. This can teach Dylan to approach life differently by not thinking so negatively about things. For instance, with basketball, a different position could possibly allow Dylan the opportunity to still play for representative teams by focusing on his strength. However, this can allow for false hope. Another intervention for this would be a character-based exercise on the VIA Charter website, which allows your top 5 character strengths. This could help Dylan with his confidence and also find out where he can go with his strengths. Nature versus nurture is a highly mentioned topic in regards to adolescence development. The genotype environment theory is the understanding that our genotype as well as the environment play an essential part in our human development. Because of the extensive biological changes that adolescents go through, this theory is relevant to Dylan. This correlation between genes and the environment can influence and impact parent and adolescent behavior and relationship quality. This occurs when the environment that the parents provide, such as parent behavior, correlates with the genes passed down to those adolescents. Drama therapy is a useful process whereby behavioral students allow themselves to role-play situations that they often find themselves in. This role play brings emotional awareness to each situation that they are in. Awareness of these emotions can help students control their actions. Because it is a fun and interactive way to seek help, Dylan may find this useful. However, it is not cost-effective as employing teachers with these skills is highly costly.
Regulation. How do I methodically theorise? What are the development issues impacting Dylan's socio-emotional growth? How do we model an approach in response to these help-seeking requests? What attributes must I consider through the acknowledgement of significance help holding Dylan's resilience in implementing process of intervention and prevention? Physically late maturing adolescent. He has a self-conceptual difference, and he has the development of identity characterized by rapid and marked physical changes. This has triggered a sense of self-resentment which has preoccupied him. He's focused on physical and emotional change because of a decline of cohesive communication, while he be in need of family support, that including warmth and encouragement and meaningful esteem, due to Dylan's perception of his parents' ambitious expectations that is countering his cognitive, biological, and social limitations, and therefore turbulence. Yet he's struggling from poor academic performance at school. He's failing mathematics. He's suffering from peer withdrawal, feels less often than his friends, and he's not receiving positive peer support. Dylan is no longer selected for his favourite basketball team, and he engages in high-risk behaviour. For example, smoking and jointing. Attributes indicated in the biopsychosocial framework. Alvels describes this synthesis to suggest that he helps us understand factors that support or inhibit socio-emotional developments throughout adolescence. We must resolutely work as a team and integrate different avenues which aim to support Dylan throughout his interactions. Professional and guided support, as like a counsellor or professional organisation, in the management of his self-resentment. Moreover, being as like Erickson identifies as a teenager, he's embarking onto young childhood, and in the process is struggling with his understanding of self-concept. Formal service that will seek in both to improve his emotional well-being and academic performance. This is possible through his caregivers, teachers, and peers, and can be provided with secure, trusting relationships with the primary caregiver. And in this case, it is intended to create positive relationships with peer avenues when highlighting the attributes of optimal resilience throughout the emergence of social and emotional developments in adolescence. The central argument revolves around the actors that support this protective process and positive outcomes it is wished for. At the core, academics emphasize strategies to lessen the severity of risk-taking and threat, while at the social level, school construct and environment as well as community play a special role, influentially and shape a cultural schema or construct of adolescents' ideas and self-concept. Great emphasis is placed on protective processes and being the interventions and preventions at all three levels and constructs, whereupon an adolescent is capable to adapt and to take on many tasks while coping to his or her stresses. These attributes are hoped to be achieved for Dylan.
Hi, my name is Etiquette. Throughout this unit, I have learned the importance of the cognitive, biological, and social development of adolescence. I found the material and readings in this unit. It has been very helpful in my learning and understanding that will assist my teaching practice and style. The content was very insightful because it has shaped and formed my perspective of the changes that adolescents experience within their schooling years. This has allowed a deeper understanding of the internal factors like hormones, brain changes, and external factors as well, like physical or social changes, that all interplay and impact a student's learning ability and behavior. Some interesting concepts and theories that have influenced my understanding in regarding the UNO is the cognitive brain development of Steinberg's implication of the hot and cold cognition context. This certainly related really well with the UNO and allowed a deeper meaning of adolescents' risk-taking behaviors with the scenario that they have provided. The scenario offered an understanding of how and why some situations or contexts may lead to different choices for adolescents, and this paradox literally reflected how the social emotional system matures earlier than the cognitive control system in adolescence. I will implement what I have learned in this unit by applying the strategies that will assist students to make sensible, reliable decisions. The information I have learned in this unit provide me with useful material to implement for a student's social and emotional well-being. Websites like Mind Matters and Beyond Blue all offer multidimensional and dynamic approaches for specific needs and interventions for students, teachers, parents, and caregivers. For example, responding to a troubled student through the group method can assist them significantly, and this may create a sense of safe and caring school environment, because there is a strong correlation between the social, emotional, and brain development. Another concept that I will be certainly implementing directly to my KLA of English is the social process of learning, Vygotsky's theory of zone of proximal development and scaffolding.
As a pre-service teacher, this unit has helped me a lot in understanding adolescent cognitive, biological, and social development. I have learned about how students learn. Repetition is key in helping adolescents move information from short-term to long-term memory. However, short-term and working memory can only process 2 to 4 elements of novel information. So in order to avoid overloading them with information that will not be useful, I will avoid too much information. For example, cognitive load can impact on students' learning abilities. Minimizing redundancy is key when avoiding extraneous load. Biological development on students can definitely impact on their learning. By understanding students' development process, such as early and late maturation, it will help me better engage with students. This understanding will also allow me to connect with students differently, as I have the capabilities to help them understand themselves in a more advanced way. Social development of students and their hot and cold cognition will help me to guide students when taking risky behavior. This understanding should allow me to be more approachable as a future teacher and help such students become more resilient in future situations. To ensure I work sensitively and confidentially with parents, caregivers, and other professionals, I will utilize the GRIP method throughout my teaching practice. This method will help recognize the negative developmental cascades among students. My KLA is English and Legal Studies. From this unit, no matter which KLA I am teaching, I think everything I have learnt throughout this unit will help improve my teaching practice. My future teaching practice will definitely incorporate Vygotsky's theory on zone of proximal development, ensuring scaffolding to students' needs are met and help students' capabilities when I am not there.
The reflection. Such a constructive classroom setting highlights the theoretical approach underpinned by Erickson's theory, as it was designated to provide a comprehensive clarification to grasp the concept of the different identity explorations alongside the struggles belonging within the contemporary learning environment. Adolescent theory is reflected upon the identification processes and strategies of significant developmental educational transformation. This in light, the relevant research and practice attached to it has provided for a deeper scope and insight for me for the theoretical and practical implications surrounding the reinvention of the school and in particular the classroom of our classroom construct in the 21st century. In effect, I will focus this reflective upon the appreciation of theoretical research and practical explorations of different identities. Adolescent theory has built a stage specifically clear of subjectivity, bias, and discriminations, yet constructively resourceful to an array of foundational teaching approaches towards different identities that fill up our classrooms today, and these voices speak a special account. Reflecting upon Erickson's theory, such foundations are built within the development of identity and are characterized by rapid and marked physical change for students, as Bisiger specifies. Different explorations of identity also implicate a recognition to these implications of sensitivity and constructiveness through the practice of teaching. Social support is paramount in adolescent environment, pushing these ease of transitions and development in a theme comprising identity formation, autonomy, ambitious achievement, interpersonal and intrapersonal change. Resilience is a central concept bounded by the theoretical and practical strategies for teacher and school intervention. However, theoretical and practical guidelines function within the teacher directive throughout the consultation and implementations of such practical strategies. Here we talk about the biopsychosocial model, and it highlighted throughout the theoretical and practical approaches designed to achieve sustainment of resilient processes and outcomes